thanks so much again for everyone for joining us and giving us some time today. We are here to talk about Enneagram for Leaders. And for those of you coming to us from Eventbrite, we are Vida. We are a life, health and wellness, leadership, and career coaching company. And my name is Justice. Oh, Brooke, you can go to the next slide, please. My name is Justice, and I'm one of the relationship strategists here on the team. And what that means is when you're ready to discuss coaching further, you have a half-hour conversation with me and my team. And during that time, we ask you more questions to know what your current situation is, what are the obstacles in front of you, and what really do you hope to get out of your coaching engagement. So with all that being said, I would love to start having some conversations with anyone on this call to kind of figure out if coaching and which coach on our team would be the best for you. And so I'm going to go ahead and post my link right here if anyone's interested. My calendar is first come, first serve, and coming to us from a webinar event does get their first session free. So something to consider when you're thinking through budgeting. But other than that, today we have Coach Brooke with us. So Brooke, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Justice. I am really excited to be chatting with you all today. We are talking about the Enneagram and how to really optimize it if you are a leader. So my name's Brooke. I am a career and leadership coach here at Vida, and I am also an Enneagram practitioner. So we're going to be learning a little bit of, what the Enneagram is today, how it can help you as a leader, and learning just a couple different things when it comes to motivation, conflict style, social styles. And so today is going to be a little bit more of an overview. Now, if you ever wanted to get a little bit more specific and dive into what your specific Enneagram is, I do work with a lot of my clients on the Enneagram. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me if this is something that's interesting to you and you want to dive into further. But yeah, so that's what we're going over today. The goals, you can go ahead and put this in the chat. I just want to know, what do you hope to learn about today? What do you want to achieve? How would you like to feel? But really, what do you hope to get out of today? So I'll give you guys just a second to put that in the chat. How leaders can use the Enneagram. We're going to be talking about that, what the Enneagram is and how to use it. We'll definitely talk about that too. Learning more, awesome. Okay, let me move my chat, just got in the way. There we go. Okay, so what we're talking about today's very specific agenda, we're going to talk about what is the Enneagram? Hello. How self-awareness can help you as a leader, different types of motivation, conflict styles, social styles, and what to do about those, really, and why do we care? Why is it important to know how to motivate your team? And then Justice will take it over and wrap up. Again, if you have any questions during this time, go ahead and put it in the chat. I believe we're going to try to have 5 to 10 minutes at the very end to answer any kinds of questions. And with whatever time is left over and I don't get to your question, you can just feel free to shoot me an email. Okay, so first and foremost, what is your type? You can go ahead and put that in the chat. I'm not sure if everybody got the chance to take the test, but I think it's always fun to see, what is your type and what is the type of the people who are also in this group too. And maybe at the end we can play a game and see if y'all can guess my type. That's always a fun one. Okay, got some 3s. 2, 1, 2, 7 question mark. Awesome. Eight wing 7, tall, dark, and stormy. Oh, tall, dark, and sorry, misunderstood the question. I'm gonna type 2. I thought you said tall, dark, and stormy. That was funny. Okay, so let's even just talk about what the Enneagram is. So I got this quote from my schooling. And so this is how they kind of overviewed the Enneagram, but it's, do you want to get to know yourself better? The Enneagram system, it is a widely accepted personality model that offers deep insight into our core driving motivations, opening up exciting possibilities in the prediction and understanding of human behavior. Right? So people often consider the Enneagram to be a personality test, but it is so much more than that. It's like this powerful tool for self-awareness, leadership development as well. So it offers this unique lens, right, through which we can actually see the world. And it describes 9 distinct types, each with its own motivation, patterns, blind spots, potential problems, and also ways to navigate those potential problems. So I like to describe the Enneagram as, a lot of people don't know what it is. So I compare it to a personality test, right? Very similar to Myers-Briggs. So I say, take what you know about Myers-Briggs and then throw it out the window. It's this framework for kind of, why do you do the things that you do? So you and I, we can show up to the same party around the same time, tell the same jokes, talk to the same people, then we leave and people are left with a similar impression of us even. But our reason for why we showed up in that kind of way could have been totally different. So it's not just what do I do, it's more of like the why you do what you do. So the Enneagram, it also offers a high degree of insight into what effective communication means for each person, how they can be a great leader in their own way, as well as their patterns, offering a healthy way to make changes and shifts. So I'm sure you can Google what Enneagram type is the best leader, and any different website can tell you any different type of thing. Oh, it's a 1, it's an 8, it's a 2, it's a this. I'm a firm believer that any type can be an effective leader. It's just really knowing yourself, knowing your weak spots, and improving upon them, right? Because every single type, there are pros, there are cons, there are strengths, there are weaknesses. And so we're going to learn a little bit about that today. But regardless, it's a powerful tool for your leadership development. It's not only for learning more about yourself, but also increasing your self-awareness, inspiring growth. And this understanding of who you are, this self-awareness, it allows you to become aware of your patterns, right? Break habits, now see your blind spots, know what your triggers are, and become the leader that you really want to be. So some of the things that an Enneagram test can tell you, and it depends on which test you take. I go through the integrative Enneagram, and so you would get all of this information. But it's going to tell you your specific type. It can also tell you your conflict style, how I react when I don't get what I want. Your social style, how I go about getting what I want. Blind spots, triggers, defense mechanisms, centers of expression, meaning, am I more in my head? Am I in my body? Am I in my feelings? It's good to be able to access all of those and not just get stuck in one place. Your stretch areas, what can take you outside of your comfort zone, and also your release areas. So this is what's going to kind of offer relief from strain. So these are all things that an Enneagram test can tell you, and then you dive into it and learn more about yourself. Okay, so how can self-awareness help you as a leader? It's twofold, right? So you can enhance your own behavior, and then you can also better support members of your team. So enhancing your own behavior. So the Enneagram type, it offers insights into your leadership style, your decision-making processes, and your natural tendencies. So by recognizing our strengths and our weaknesses, we can then develop a healthy way of being a great leader, while also understanding how we tend to react in high stress situations or worst case scenarios. As a leader, it's important to know this about yourself and how you show up and how you come across to your subordinates. And it's also good to know, hey, these are what my blind spots are, and how you can make those around you feel. Not just your subordinates, but your peers and those above you. And that way, if something is not beneficial, it could even be causing a problem at work, you can know about it and then you can change it, right? You can't change something if you don't know this about yourself. So I'm a very firm believer that when you know better, you can do better. Type 2, or the second, I was going to say type 2, but the second part of how self-awareness can help you is supporting your team members better. It's important to bring out the best in your team, and also understanding that everybody is unique. What works for one person on your team might not work for another. What builds up one person could shut another person down. And so when you know the Enneagram types that are on your team, you know how to motivate them. You know how to best communicate them, what could trigger them, and what they could be missing. So this really can help you bring out the best in your team. So the Enneagram, it provides a way to understand others, including team members, colleagues, even your loved ones at home. You know, your friends, your family, it just doesn't stop at the office. And so by recognizing their tendencies, we can communicate with them more effectively, we can provide support and inspire them to reach their full potential. So overall, the Enneagram offers a high degree of focus and insight into ourselves and the world around us, enabling us to lead with compassion and enthusiasm, while also recognizing and addressing our own challenges and others' challenges and conflicts. Okay, so there are 9 different core types of motivation. I saw that a couple of you said that you have 3 different types. That might be a tri-type, but we have only one true core motivation, right? Why we do the things that we do. So here is a chart for these different 9 types. I know it's a lot of information on this slide, and to be honest, for the next 4 slides. So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail here, and then I will quickly, go through the next 4 slides. Keep in mind that this will be recorded, and if somebody wants to look at it during question time, we can definitely do that. I just want to respect everyone's time and make sure we're keeping to the hour. So, motivation types. Type 1 is the perfectionist, right? So they want to be good. They don't want to be bad. And they really need to do things the right way. So they can hold themselves to high standards, be driven to do those things the right way, and they really can be critical of themselves when they fall short. Type 2 is the helper. They want to be loved, they want to be needed, and they will go out of their way to support others. So they're empathetic, they're relationally driven, they're intuitive, but they can be prone to neglecting their own needs in order to care for others. And they can actually be manipulative in getting trying to be only, like, they're the only ones who can help you. Number 3 is the achiever. So they are focused on success, accomplishment, even self-image, and they strive to be the best at everything. And so they're highly ambitious, competitive, and they can sometimes struggle as feeling like they feel like they are their accomplishments. They are only valuable if they achieve something. The individualist is driven by the need to be unique. They want to express their unique identity, and they want to be seen as special or different, and they really just want to have deep meaning and purpose. They can be really creative and artistic, and that doesn't mean just with painting, it can be with anything, but they're really going to lean into that creativity. And they can also struggle with feelings of melancholy and not fitting in. So type 5s are the investigators. They are the analytical, the logical. They need to understand the world around them. They tend to be very highly intellectual and independent, but they can sometimes struggle with social situations and emotional expression. So in times of conflicts, they can really go inwards or pull away. Type 6, the loyalist. They are motivated by wanting to be secure and stable. And so they will look to others to provide that security for them. They are incredibly loyal, incredibly committed, but they can struggle with anxiety. They will analyze every single possible bad thing, and they will very consistently second guess themselves. Sevens are the enthusiasts. They want adventure, they want new, they want to live life to the absolute fullest. They're going to have a lot of energy, they're going to be really optimistic, but they may struggle with follow through on commitments. They also may struggle with dealing with really difficult emotions. Then we have the challenger. The challenger wants to avoid any kind of vulnerability. They feel the need to take control. They like power, and they like having control of situations and of the people around them. They can be highly assertive and protective. You'll see a lot of these people are really like for justice, but they can really struggle with that vulnerability, and they do not want to be controlled by other people. Then you have the peacemaker. They are driven by a need for harmony. They want to avoid any kind of conflict. They tend to be very easygoing and adaptable, but can really struggle with that indecision. And they can really avoid and put on the back burner their own needs and their own desires. Okay, so this is a lot of information. I'm just going to pause here for a quick minute because I know you all can read. And so look here, and it's the different types of motivations, but they're broken down by if you are this type, but also if your subordinate is this type. So these are things to look out for yourself and your subordinates, and ways to improve yourself and also help your team. So I'll stay here for a minute and we'll go through each of these. And then if you have a question, put it in the chat and I will try to get to your question at the very end. Okay, types 3 and 4. Five and 6. You'll see it's so much content. So I do apologize for that, but it was content that I wanted you to all be able to have. 7 and 8. Nine and 10, or 9, not 10. And just know that I have written blogs that kind of expands upon this, and you can see those on our website. But these blogs, they're going to talk about, what drives those types, conflict style, blind spots, defense mechanisms, and what to do if this is your type or your subordinate's type. So you'll see this expanded upon in all of these blog types, or all of these Enneagram types. And then if we do have time at the end, I can go through those in more detail. Okay, so we are about to talk through types of conflict, and also after that, types of social styles. So conflict is, how do I respond when I don't get what I want, right? So there are 3 types: competency, AKA very methodical, reactive, and then positive outlook. So the conflict style of competency, this emphasizes the need to kind of put aside personal feelings and focus on addressing the situation or challenge in a very efficient way. Reactive is not necessarily aggressive, but they tend to react very strongly and passionately. And they demand or provoke equally passionate responses from others that are involved in a situation. And then positive outlook. This is also known as avoidant or escapist. And this style focuses on making the conflicts go away. They want to escape the impact. People with this style tend to disengage themselves from the situation, and they just take a positive outlook and they move on really quickly. So breaking these down a little bit, so the competency, they tend to push things aside, so just in order to get things done. So this is where you'd want to help them by connecting them to the emotional and collaborative side. This is going to help them access more energy and motivation when problem solving, and also avoid burnout. So these are typical types that are associated with competency. Not every time, but usually these will be 1s, 3s, and 5s are going to put the feelings aside to get the job done. Reactive tends to react strongly, wants strong reactions from other people. So you can help this type by helping them focus more on the conflict resolution and also potential positive outcomes. And because they can usually be stuck in the negative when it comes to conflict. These are usually going to be 4s, 6s, and 8s. And then the positive outlook. So they're going to avoid the issues. They will only focus on the problem. They need help facing challenges head on. They need to also not be able to. Sometimes reframing can be good and sometimes it can be harmful, but conflict doesn't always have to be a bad thing, So help them realize it's okay not to reframe. It's okay for a problem to be a problem and you can work through it. And that conflicts can occasionally, usually, if done the right way, be a really good thing. And so those are going to be 2s, 7s, and 9s. And then we'll talk about social style. So social style is how we go about getting what we want. So 3 types. There is assertive, compliant, and withdrawn. So people with an assertive social style, they move against the world in an independent and energetic way. So they go out of their way to get what they want and what they need. They find challenges energizing, and they like to get to the point and get things done. So their response to resistance is often to push harder rather than to slow down or reflect. People with a compliant social style, they move towards the world. And they typically will go along with established norms, rules, or ways of doing things. They are dutiful and they are cooperative in their efforts to get what they want and what they need. So they want to do what is expected of them. within boundaries and limits, and they really do appreciate clear expectations from other people's because they do like rules and norms. And then last is the withdrawn social style. So these people typically move away from the world. They tend to look inward and become contemplative in their efforts to get what they want. So they may need time and space to process and share their ideas, and they prefer to disengage and deeply consider issues before responding. So, how to handle it? So for the assertive, again, they move against others to make sure things go in their favor. So help them by seeing how impulsive decisions can affect others and even themselves. So help them to see other people's perspectives. And if their social style does become an issue, help them see how they come across to other people and steps to move forward within that. So these are typically 3s, 7s, and 8s. So achievers, I'm blanking on the name of the 7. I think these are called the visionaries, and 8s, the controllers. Then we have the compliant. They move towards each other people to get what they want using established norms and approaches. So help them by first asking them, what do they want? What do you think about this? Regardless of what other people think, so that connects them to their own voice and their own values, because these types really can go along to get along. It's important for them to hear their own voice. So this is typically 1s, 2s, and 6s. And then we have the withdrawn, right? They move away, they disengage to get what they want. So help them by talking through the importance of balancing their emotions with the realities of what's going on, and talk about the importance of why collaboration really is important. And these are usually 4s, 5s, and 9s. So why is it important to know what motivates your team? Like, at the end of the day, why do we care? And it's pretty simple, actually. Motivated and understood employees, that means increased employee engagement. It means they're going to perform better. They're going to be more productive. They're going to be happier, so there's going to be less turnover. Their relationships are going to be better between you and your bosses, you and your subordinates, and maybe even if everybody kind of understands what each other's types are on the team, it's better unity for your team. They're going to feel more confident in their role. So people who are confident, they tend to explore more. They tend to be more creative, a little bit more free flowing. And then at the end of the day, it's a better company culture and reputation. Great. Okay, so Justice, I believe you are up.
Thank you so much, Brooke. And I'm gonna take over the sharing screen for you.
Great.
Perfect. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. So here are some steps on how you can take what you've learned today and apply it further. We are here to support you. In your 45-minute one-on-one personal sessions, you get lots of different types of insight on your situation, be it leadership, career, whatever you want to explore. There's increased level of support from not only your individual coach, but the relationship strategist that sets you up, our support team who is here to help with anything on the back end, as well as all the other coaches on staff. And we really are one big community here. And also that lends itself to a heightened level of accountability. That's one of the things that people talk about a lot in our conversations, is just that they need someone to help with that insight and support, but also someone to help hold them accountable. So these are 3 of the biggest ways that we're here to support you, and ways that you can help take this further. And plus, in addition to your one-on-ones, the membership does come with a lot of bonuses. First of all, we have access to our ALV Slack channel. And what's nice about that is it has all of our current clients as well as all of our coaches. So it's a really healthy environment we've been able to create, where people post job descriptions, webinars, seminars, discussion posts, and just all sorts of things like that. But what else is really cool is that our coaches who are constantly creating new content, for example, we have webinars like these, as well as they're always making and sharing blog posts. And if any of the coaches was to ever post something that caught your eye, you wanted to lean into or explore a little bit more about, you would then have the opportunity to substitute any of your sessions with your main coach with any of the other coaches on our team. And we call that celebrity sessions. So even though you have your main coach, you have our entire team of coaches behind you, should you ever want to explore any sort of niche skill set that someone else could bring to the table. In addition to this, we also now have group coaching included in memberships. And what it looks like is there's 8 sessions a month, and they range the day of the week as well as the time of the day to try to accommodate as many people as possible. But they also range the coach leading the session as well as the session topic itself, from things like general life or general career coaching to super specific things like LinkedIn optimization or imposter syndrome. So there's a wide variety of content that's offered each month that we really encourage people to attend and take advantage of. And people are really finding a lot of value in attending those. And then lastly, you have instant access to our e-coaching suite, which are our modules. So like things like Quit Your Imposter Syndrome, our AOV career method, and many more. These are great because these are going to be what you work on in between your one-on-one sessions to kind of connect the dots and keep the ball rolling. So there's not too much idle time and you're constantly engaged and working towards achieving your goals. And then altogether, our bonus alone value at over $1,000, but the coaching investment starts at $379 a month. And if anyone is interested in if anyone's interested in continuing conversation or starting a conversation with me or someone on my team, I'm also going to go ahead and drop my link one more time for everybody to jump onto my calendar, but that link will also be sent in the follow-up. So you will have that as well. Here is that link. And then if you have your phone on you and you want to scan a QR code, you can also do that as well. But going off of that, if anyone just has preliminary questions, there's also my and Brooke's email if you have questions more about Enneagram specifically, about Vida, the coaching, pricing, membership options. More than happy to continue the conversation with anyone that might need one. That's pretty much my side of things. So I guess if we're all good, we can open it up for the Q&A. Brooke, give me 1 second to stop sharing my screen if I can find my cursor. There we go. Okay, so I know there were some questions that were written in the chat earlier that I wanted to go back to. The first one says, what if you have 3 strong Enneagram types?
Great. I'm like looking in the chat as well. Hi, everybody.
They're privately PM'd me, so I have a list of them from.
Oh, great. Okay. So what if you have 3 strong types on your team? Are you asking like how to engage with them, how to motivate them? If you wanted to come off,
I was gonna say, whoever wrote the question, if you'd like to clarify that by chance, if you're still here.
I believe if they're referencing themselves, they listed like if there are 7, 8, and they listed another number as well. So maybe they're taking a test.
That was mine.
So
that was mine, and it is those 3 strong types personally.
Okay. So you can have a triad, right? And it's how you would show up in your action center, in your thinking center, and also in your feeling center. So it is good to know about yourself that you're probably going to think very strongly, you're going to feel very strongly, you're going to be very strongly moving towards action. However, we only have one true type. We can only have one true form of core motivation. Why do we do the things that we do? And we operate out of that, but it sounds like you're kind of lending to other things as well. What are your 3 types, if you don't mind me asking?
3, 7, and 8.
3, 7, and 8. Okay. So
achiever, enthusiast, and what was that last? Oh, optimist.
Challenger.
Oh, challenger. Okay.
3, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. So achiever, visionary, and challenger. Yeah. And so I would wonder, what is your core type? Because those are going to be more of like a triad. but we would
So
want to know what that core type is.
the pretest, it said 3, but then when I looked at the round diagram, it showed like the pie, and I noticed, oh look, they're really close, all close in size there.
Yeah, and so that's going to be important. Like, so when you're taking a test is really great. A test is really useful. Free ones, you're going to get a lot less content around it. That is why I do like the tests that I recommended through the integrative Enneagram, because they check for the reliability, the consistency, all of that, because you do have one true type. And I believe Kelly actually asked in the chat, like, can it change over time? The answer to that is your true type does not change, but how we you can like take on different you can take on other types throughout your life, and it's usually in response to what's going on in your environment. So for a long time, I tested as a 6. I was very security focused. I wanted to be safe, but realizing that that was actually not who I truly was. It was it was just like from my circumstances, really. And so I operated at a 6, and I learned a lot at that level, but that wasn't my true type. So things can change like throughout your life, but you do have one true type. The stance is learn at wherever you are. It's a self-awareness tool. What do you need to learn during that time? And learn it, and then continue just to like grow and change. Does that answer your question?
It does, and I did do the test, and then I went ahead and bought the report. So, but
Oh,
I
beautiful.
I did it right before, so I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Right, and I will also say tests are very helpful. That's what I was gonna say. I really do like mine. You get a lot of information. You're gonna get a 22-page report. Self-evaluation, though, is key. If you read something and you're like, you know what, that is not me, take a retest. Go through the individual types and see like, where am I really? Or a good way to self-assess is, what is like my biggest fear? And usually that could be some kind of like motivation teller.
I find the scale, or even yes or no, it's like, well, that's me sometimes, but not always. Sometimes
Ooh,
I'm
maybe
this way.
you are a 7.
Okay. I'll take a look. Thank you.
Yeah, and email me if you have any like further questions and specifics once you read your report. I'd be happy to respond.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Another question we had was, do age groups tend to lean towards certain motivation types?
No. It can, if you are in like a high level consulting firm type, those types might typically be grouped together, right? Those might be a lot more of the 1s, the 3s, the 8s, because the more creative types might not want to be in that kind of competitive environment. Or 2s, they just want to be loved. You know, they might not want to be there. 6s might want security, and security might not be there in that cutthroat environment. So you'll see that they can go towards different types of industries, but that's based more on core motivation. When it comes to age, no, I don't see that different age groups have different core motivation types.
And then someone requested, could you please show 8 again for a sec? I can pull it up.
Yes.
Actually,
Oh, thank you. It might be good just to go through all of those.
Yep, give me one.
Just have them up for like a minute or two.
Yeah, absolutely. Was it, let me see if tell me if this is the right spot or not. All right, slideshow. Oops. Nope.
In the meantime, Brooke, there was another question
Yeah.
that says suggestions for evaluating your coworkers' Enneagrams. Do you have any?
Ooh, so something that we learned in our program is you really don't want to to diagnose somebody else, right? Because going back to that party example, we both show up to a party, we act the same way, we do the same things, and then we leave, but our reason for it is totally different. So you can't just look at somebody and be like, oh, you're a total 4, or you're definitely a 1, because we don't know that. Because people could be putting on a certain facade at work. They might act like a 3 because that's how they think successful people act, right? And so you'd want them to take their own test or ask if they know what the Enneagram is, and kind of go through that way. We don't want to base off of any kind of assumption.
And then I think that is, there's one that says, can there be a variant between philosophy and practice?
I would love to hear more. That's like a very broad question. I'd love to hear more.
PM Sive, are you still with us to clarify? Oh,
Okay. Well, if you wanted to elaborate in the chat, that would be wonderful.
And then the one under that says, have you heard of Spark type? It seems to be similar.
I have not heard of Spark type. What is that?
There was another question that says, how can we use stretch and release points? I'm not exactly sure if that's specific to Enneagram.
Yes. Yes. So it helps us grow. So, for example, if you were a 2, ways that you would stretch yourself would be to own your feelings, stand in your own personal power. If there's something you disagree with, being able to verbalize that is very hard for 2s. So those are stretches. More release pieces for a 2, right? Because it's going to provide relief in stressful situations, is to embrace your creativity, and so those are ways that a 2 can either stretch or release. And so each of the 9 types has a stretch and a release point. So it's good to know those, so you can really grow from that or find a little bit of relief.
Okay, Brooke, it seems we have a response from PMCV.
Great.
Answering questions, I felt like I believe this to be true. It's my value, but I wonder if in practice I do differently. I.e., everyone is equal, everyone has value, is a conviction, but maybe in practice I'm more self-focused.
Okay, I felt like I believe this to be true. It's my value, but I wonder if everyone is equal, everyone has value is my conviction. So then I'm wondering if we're operating like what's the difference right now between should and what's actually true for you? I think that's what
Can you
I'm
expand
getting
upon
when
that more? What you mean by that?
So you're saying that what I'm gathering is you believe that everyone is equal, everybody has value, that's a value, but you are actually more self-focused than you think, than you'd like to present yourself as. Do you feel like you should believe that everyone is equal and has value? And do you really believe that? I think I'm still very confused by this question. And I really do apologize for that.
PMs, if you want to also write down Brooke's email, we can also email about this to kind of get more detail about that and take it offline if we need to.
That'd be great.
We've reached the end of our written out questions. Does anybody have any questions that have come up throughout that they would like to bring up or come off of mute to have a conversation with? We've got some time here at the top of the hour before we finish everything. Brooke, do you have any, oh, no one says to go back to 9's motivation. Okay, go back to 9 for you.
So they want harmony. They want to avoid conflicts. They are the peacemakers. They want to keep the peace. And every type is important. You know, we need peacemakers. We need challengers. We need all of them. So there is not one good, right one. There is not one good way and right way to be a leader. They all have strengths and they all have weaknesses, and we need all of them. It's just, who are you, and knowing that, so then you can better know yourself and better lead your team, because self-awareness is everything.
Does anybody have any last minute questions, or Brooke, do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to leave us with?
I think that's it. I think what I just said is where I'd like to end it. No good, no bad. You are who you are. Learn about yourself so that you know better and you can do better. And I'm also here if you ever wanted to get into any kind of specifics, learn more about your type, so that you can be the best leader you can be. I know that this was very much an overview. We did not get into too many specifics. And so if you ever wanted to dive deeper into your own, shoot me an email.
And like I said, the recording, as well as all of the links that we mentioned today, will be sent in that follow-up tomorrow. So you can expect that in your inboxes, but it will also be posted on our YouTube channel in the future in case you ever lose that email. But with that being said, thank you so much, everyone, for your time today. We hope you have a great rest of your day and weeks, and to see you at a future event we have. Everyone take care.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.